Jamal are getting after it pretty good. You recovered from that?
I don't know if we're getting. I got it pretty good. You know, Jamal's a hell of a player. I try to get out there once in a while and mess with the guys, but I was a little sore this morning. I'm getting older, Bob.
And you gotta like seeing that fire out of your guys, whether it's an opponent in the waning minutes or their head coach in a training camp practice.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I thought last night's practice was the energy was good, not great. The challenge was to come back this morning in a non-contact setting and to find a way to have a lot more energy and juice, and we did that. I thought the energy in the gym this morning was outstanding, and I'm excited for tonight's practice because we do a lot of scrimmaging, getting up and down. So these practices are hard when you don't do anything live. They're hard to get through. There's a lot of drills. There's a lot of mental toughness required. But I thought today was phenomenal, and everybody's sharing that, players and coaches.
So you said you were thinking that there would probably be some fatigue after yesterday's first practice since you guys went so hard.
Yeah, you know, and I think some of the fatigue is a lot more mental. You know, we only had one live practice yesterday, but it's all the hours that we're in the gym. We're throwing a lot at these guys. For them to respond the way they did this morning, shows me that they're mentally tough. They can bounce back and fight through fatigue. And every NBA team goes through that, so we're no different. We have to be able to fight through fatigue right now and as the season goes along.
Coach, that non-contact practice, the ability to learn and then be able to translate is so important in the way they go through and how they go about their business.
I think so. Obviously, we, as you guys saw today, we did a lot of instruction, a lot of teaching, a lot of station work. Now the challenge is, can you take it from a 3-on-3 station into the 5-on-5 scrimmages tonight? And that's what practices are for, and then the following day we'll clean up all the things that we didn't transfer as well as we need to. But we're throwing a lot at them. I thought they comprehended it. It's not brand new for most of these guys, and now we'll see how well they're able to put all that into action tonight and how well they're able to do it.
Coach, I know it's only day 2, but what do you see from Millsap when you're running the defensive drills? What do you see that makes him an all-NBA defensive player?
You know, this is IQ, Chris. I mean, I think Paul, because of his years of experience, close to 90 playoff games, he's been around the block a few times. He has a feel for the game and an IQ for the game that a lot of guys don't have. On top of that, I think he has, because he's not a great athlete, let's say. He's not a guy that's flying all over the place, blocking shots and dunking on people. With that being said, he has an uncanny ability to make plays around the rim. His timing, his angles, his position as a defender allow him to be in the right place and to make blocks. We were in Atlanta for a week, and then he's been in the gym all month of September. Guys think they have layups, and Paul comes out of nowhere to make a play on the ball at the rim. So he has an uncanny ability for timing and being in the right place at the right time.
We talked a couple days ago about Emmanuel and how he handled last season, kind of falling out of the rotation with maturity. Just what are maybe some examples of how he showed that to you, and then what has he shown you during training camp as he's battling for that spot?
I think that the biggest example is, hold on one second. Hey, can you guys keep it down? The big example for me was when he was taken out of the rotation. You know, the greatest power we all have as human beings is the power to choose. So he could have chose to be upset, pissed off, immature, and stop working, or he could have said, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself and work hard. And that's exactly what he did. So after he was taken out of the rotation and we had chances to play, he went out there and played well for us because he wasn't feeling sorry for himself. I thought Emmanuel had a terrific practice today. His energy, his talk, he was really, really good today. And I thought he was one of the few guys last night that played with great energy as well. So right now, obviously, Jameer banged up his toe, didn't practice last night, didn't practice today. But both Jamal and Emmanuel are doing some really good things on the floor. But in regards to Emmanuel, I love the energy and pace which he's playing with right now, and I love how vocal he's being.
You said you spent some time with him in Africa this summer, right? What was the highlight of that trip, or how did that maybe help your relationship?
It was neat to see, because it wasn't just Emmanuel. It was Emmanuel, his 2 brothers, his mother. The special part of that trip, was for me to see them. That was the first time they had been back to Africa since they left the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So just to see how what an experience it was for them as a family. And a lot of it was, instead of player coach, just kind of like my trip to Serbia with Nikola, just player coach during the season, but getting to be with these guys in a setting where it's just me and Emmanuel as people, getting to know each other, and having a chance to coach him in that game, and just being his biggest fan on that bench, and giving him confidence and telling him to play and be aggressive. But he's having a great camp so far. It's early, obviously, but I'm proud of him because this was a really big summer for him. You're going to your third year in the NBA and you lost your spot in the rotation. What are you going to do with that? And obviously he's worked very hard this summer, and it shows.
Does Jamal look any different to you this year than he did last year? Quicker or anything? Just now he's over the injuries.
I think so. It's funny because the injuries he had early in the games, I think he had a hard time getting loose, and those injuries probably prohibited him from being really effective laterally. That lateral quickness, ability to guard. He had some amazing plays for a guy that had the injuries that he had, some of the dunks, some of the finishes he had. So nothing has stood out in 3 practices where I said, wow, he didn't do that last year, because I don't think anybody would have watched Jamal last season and said, oh, that guy's walking around with a limp or he's hurt. Nobody could even know that until it was kind of brought out in the media. But I know from talking to him, he feels more explosive. He feels like he's got more quickness, and obviously that will help him on both ends of the floor.
Have you decided how you're going to deploy them in preseason? Like whether it's starting a guy one game and then another guy the next game? Has that been kind of determined yet?
I mean, I've thought about it. Nothing has been determined or solidified in that regard. Obviously, we'll give all the guys chances to play, get minutes, and we'll kind of work its way out.
Clearly, it's early, and obviously it takes a little while to get your sea legs under you. But Nikola dropping that weight, have you noticed any better conditioning from him?
Yeah, I think it's funny. What's really been good is I ask all of our guys, how do you feel? How's the altitude? How's your conditioning? How's your wind? And Nikola, Paul, all these guys look like they're in good shape. Obviously tonight will be great because we're going to get up and down a lot, and that's going to be the true test. Can they play extended minutes up and down in the altitude? But I think Nikola dropping the weight he has, getting stronger, has aided in his conditioning, and I think all the other guys have come into camp. Back in the day, guys came into camp to get into shape, and you can't do that anymore, especially this year with the preseason being so much shorter. You have to come into camp in good shape and use camp to get into great shape. And I think a lot of our guys have used the summer to be in the best shape they can be.
Coach Wancho, I know you talked about kind of limiting his minutes coming into camp just because of his off-season play, but from what you've seen of him so far, have you seen his game develop because of everything he was doing abroad?
Yeah, it's tough. We held Wancho out today, just because of, it's not just physical fatigue, it's also mental fatigue. When you're in a gym for our summer league, then you go right back and you're in July, all of August into September. That is a long summer, that's a long grind. I do see a confident young man coming back, first time playing on the national team, starting, playing alongside Pau and Marc Gasol. And playing against some great teams. And I know they only won the bronze medal, and a lot of people in Spain expected a gold medal, but that's a lot to be proud of for his first time playing national ball. But I haven't, it's so early, Ali, I haven't been said, wow, he's added this, he's added that. The biggest thing I see is the confidence in which he's playing with.
The other day you mentioned that his team is quiet, and that some of the assistants have kind of brought that up to you, just said coming in brand new. Who was the first person that mentioned it to you, and then maybe what have you guys tried to do in training camp just to get guys to talk a little bit more?
Well, we said it a lot last year, the guys that were on the staff and how important it is for us to find a way to get our talk going. But then when you have Calvin Booth or you have David Adelman, Bob Weiss, they've all kind of said it. The first time it came really up was when we were in Atlanta, when we had the voluntary minicamp. And, Calvin Booth and David Adelman were both, we have a very quiet team. And and not even just talking on defense, just like usually when you play ball, I know I grew up, everybody was talking smack to each other. Like, we have a very, a polite group that doesn't talk a whole lot. But it has not been an issue. We have done drills that require communication, and our guys have done a good job of communicating so far. Hopefully that continues to transfer into the live games.
So what types of drills do you do to make guys talk?
A bunch of defensive drills where, obviously the big has to talk to the small, to tell them the pick and roll coverage. 3-on-3 drills where we're going up and down, just where the communication has to be there, because if not, somebody's going to get run over. So just defensive drills where communication is required.
Arturo said he wanted Gary to be a star and kind of be in the spotlight, he said. Has Gary kind of taken that vocal leadership role recently at camp?
He's working on it. It's not just going to happen right away. I talked with Gary about it at the end of the season, and it's something Gary said to me. I hit him yesterday in between practices. Your improvement every year speaks for itself. You are a very good basketball player. I love Gary Harris. He's my kind of player, as you guys all know. But his biggest challenge now is can not just be a 50, 40, 90 guy, but be a leader. People respect Gary Harris. His voice carries weight, and he has to use that to help him and help his teammates. And I think he's going to slowly get more comfortable in that role.
Coach, you mentioned Gary Harris. You mentioned he's going to be in the player committee. Is that something that's going to last the whole season?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's something that, I've been in the league a long time. Different coaches I've worked with have used that before. And it's just anytime I have something it could be a basketball-related issue, it could be a travel question, a practice question, what's going on with that country right now, whatever it may be, I'll speak to our whole team. So I don't want it to be like, the other guys don't have a voice. Of course they do, but I will go to those four to kind of be my point of reference and kind of get their feedback, and they'll represent the rest of the team. But it's something that we'll use the rest of the season, no doubt.
What have you seen from Tyler Lydon so far, and can you talk about the process to get him where you want him to be defensively, since obviously the last few years he played 2-3 zone with Syracuse?
I tell you what, if you guys aren't able to watch our practices, if you watch us play in Summer League, there are a lot of question marks about Tyler. He struggled in Summer League, struggled to make shots. His confidence waned. What a different player he is now. Tyler Lydon had probably one of the best first days on our team, shooting the ball with confidence, shooting it with range, and there is no problem, zero problems, going from a 2-3 zone at Syracuse to playing man-to-man. He's shown the ability at Tim Gergovich has a big camp in Vegas. Tyler went to that, was really effective there. He's been in our gym all September and now 3 practices, and Tyler is a very smart player. He's playing with much more confidence now than he was in July, and he's been very, very impressive, and I have no doubts he'll be able to, because he's a sneaky shot blocker. Yeah. He can make plays at the rim, and that's what's surprising people, his ability to guard and be a presence at the rim, and it's been nice to see.
You had your team meeting. Was there any conversation about potential protesting or how you guys would handle that, or any kind of unification within that team that you guys kind of came to terms with?
No, nothing has been formally decided, and that's such a fine line because, as I said on media day, you'd hope that your team is unified, but the reality is this: there are 15 individuals. People may feel, and I don't think it's right to say, well, if 2/3 feel this way, you have to do this. And the greatest example I can use, obviously I've been a Steeler fan my whole life, all the kind of remorse that Roethlisberger and Villanueva had after that game. One guy's out there with a hand on his heart, they're not out there for the anthem. And so whatever it is, we're going to give our guys the freedom to express themselves how they want to, as long as it is in a dignified manner, which I know it will be. But nothing's been formally decided upon. Again, I will lean on our committee and our vets to kind of figure out that discussion, what we want to do, and we'll take it day by day in that regard.
What is the NBA rule in regards to standing or not standing? I've heard some confusion.
As far as I know, it's funny because it didn't come up this year. Last year it came up because it was the hot topic with Colin Kaepernick, and it didn't come up in our meetings a couple of weeks ago. Last year it was agreed upon that, and this is from Adam Silver, they pride themselves on being a league that values diversity and inclusion, and this country is founded on freedom of speech. What I mean? So we're not going to sit here and force you have to stand at the anthem. It's something that we would like them to do, but at the end of the day, it's something where we will respect our players' rights as citizens and of this country to do what they feel is best.
Has DA been able to go for students?
Limited. We went through practice 1, almost full, 2 and 3. We've kind of monitored his minutes so we can hopefully get him through all the practice 4, the live practice and the scrimmaging. So we're just keeping an eye on him, keeping an eye on Juancho. Obviously, Kenneth did not practice today, and Jameer Nelson did not practice today.
Is that just rest for Cav?
Yeah, rest, and I think he was, feeling a little bit under the weather, but nothing serious.
When you said toe for Jameer?
Yeah, yeah.
You've mentioned the trip to Atlanta a lot, just as kind of a really beneficial thing this summer. Just what was the highlight of that trip for you? Just as far as the guys, getting together and Paul and just kind of doing that on their own.
Yeah, it was probably many things, to be honest. Hard to pinpoint just one. I think the fact that we had so many of our players there, just committing out of their own pockets to be in Atlanta as a team, that was a highlight by itself. The fact we had such a great turnout. The play on the court and the work on the court was great because now we're getting guys to get to know each other on the court. And then afterwards in the evenings, whether it's a dinner or going to Topgolf or going to a movie, we spend time as a team, getting to know each other. That's such a big part of it. You bring all these people together, but if you're not getting to know one another as teammates, as people, then I think your chemistry is only so deep. I think that camp, that voluntary mini camp, really helped us get to know each other and create that chemistry on and off the court.
And that was after summer league, right?
Yes, yeah, that was in August. Yeah.
Thoughts on the facilities here at Colorado?
Yeah, it's great. Once again, obviously, a huge shout out and thanks to Tad Boyle and his staff and to the entire university for allowing us to be here. Obviously, when you have 18 guys, it's tough in our gym because we have one court, very tight quarters. And to come right up the road, train in altitude, and be in one of the most beautiful college campuses I've been on is a treat for all of us.